Morning and welcome to The Car Guy. I'm your host, Klaus. I'm sitting here this morning with Gabe Tesch. Morning, Gabe.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Living the dream.
It's nice to have you back on the show again.
Yeah, it's awesome to be back. I'm really excited.
Cool. You've had a pretty good season from what I understand.
Yeah, it was a really good season. I mean, it was really busy. We did 50 races, so we were racing every weekend all summer.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we did ICP Cup, we did some SCUSA, and then we're doing the local stuff like here we are today.
And this is your last race of the season here today.
Yeah.
But you've got another race coming up next week.
Yeah, the Grand Nationals.
In Oregon.
Yeah, Pat's Acres. Yeah.
Pat's Acres. Where is that in Oregon?
It's kind of by Salem.
Okay.
Like an hour away from Salem.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's a national event?
Yeah.
So you're going to have some competition next weekend.
Yeah, it is. It's probably the biggest, not series, but biggest race in the U.S.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And right now, locally, you're sitting second in the points, if I understand that correctly?
Right, yeah. I have a chance to win the championship this weekend if I sweep the day today, which means pole, win in the heat race, and win in the final, and I have to do that today and tomorrow.
You got this.
Yeah.
I know you got this. Nothing to it. You've been working out hard a couple times a day?
Yeah, I work out twice a day, 5 days a week.
Good for you.
Mm.
I wish I had that kind of gumption.
Yeah.
I used to, but then I was a lot younger.
Right.
Well, good for you. Couple practice sessions this morning. You're going to do 2 practice sessions and then a qualifying session and then a heat race, and you're going to replicate that again tomorrow. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And this is actually your first full year in a 2-stroke kart.
Right, yeah. This was my first full year in a 2-stroke, and it is way different than a 4-stroke. 4-stroke, you kind of just tap the brake and then get on the gas and then just go. This, it's holding the brake down 100%, lifting off to 95, and just rolling down on the gas once you get to the apex. So it's just a totally different animal. So
yeah.
It took me a while to learn, but I finally got it.
A little bit different driving style.
Yeah.
Whereas the 4-stroke's more momentum.
Yeah. And
here you got a little more
just
horsepower to get you out of there.
Yeah, just brake, put it straight, and go.
Very cool. Now I understand you and your dad went to Laguna Seca, last month or month before last?
Yeah, we went down to Laguna Seca, and actually Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren Motorsports, was pitted right by us. So me and my dad are like, we gotta talk to him because this guy knows everything about the racing world. So we went up to him and we gave him our driver's packet, and we talked to him for a little bit, and then he emailed us, and he's like, McLaren would be happy to sponsor you.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize just how important this is for a young man's driving career to get somebody, number one, a Formula One team like McLaren, and a team principal like Zach Brown to get behind a young driver like Gabe here. It's just extraordinary. We've got an absolute winner here living in Spokane. I think it's just so cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. I'm really excited to see what happens in the future with McLaren and stuff.
Awesome. So we're going to hang out this weekend with Gabe, and we're going to wish him the best and see if he can get this track record, and then on top of that, win the championship.
Yeah, I will try.
Very cool. It's good to see you this morning.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks, mate. So Gabe, you finished up your first practice session this morning. How'd it go?
It went pretty good. The kart was really loose. On exit, the back end was just coming out like crazy.
I noticed that. It looked a little loosey-goosey.
Yeah, and then going into the corner, I couldn't go as deep as I wanted because it would just start breaking out like that, and I was just scrubbing so much speed.
So what are you going to do to combat that? It looks. What I didn't know is that there's so many adjustments available on a go-kart.
Yeah, there's a lot of adjustments that go into it. For like this, like what happened in the last practice session, we're gonna narrow the front to get some more grip into the front, and then we're gonna put these third bearings in here, so it'll stiffen up the axle, and that should probably balance it out more.
So give you more balance. So if we narrow the front track, it gives us actually a little bit less grip going in the front.
Yeah.
But it'll transfer some of that balance to the back of the automobile.
Yeah, so
and then
it just balances out perfectly.
And then stiffening up the rear will give you a little bit more. So we should come out with pretty good balance by the end of or by the time we make all these adjustments.
Right.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing about karting. Like, we can say we want to do that, but the weather changes so much, so it actually might not work.
Right.
But
so you've always got to make adjustments on track temperature, weather temperature,
tires,
the whole 9 yards. Yeah, you bet. Okay. Very, very cool. Your next session is going to be another practice session and then a qualifying session?
Yeah, it'll be a practice and a qualifying. Yeah.
Okay. And I understand you may break a track record here this weekend.
Yeah, I've already braked it, but it wasn't official. So I'm really hoping, it has to be done in qualifying, so I'm really hoping I can break it today.
You will.
Yeah.
I got faith in you. So we're going to make adjustments to the car, go back out, do another practice session, and then a qualifying session. You're doing pretty well this year in the points. You're second in the points.
Yeah.
Your first year in a two-stroke.
Yeah, I have the chance to win the championship this weekend actually, but I have to sweep the day today and sweep the day tomorrow.
So you've got to practice on the. You got to finish on the. You got to win. You got to qualify on the pole.
Win the heat race, win the final, and do the same thing tomorrow.
Nothing to it.
Yeah.
Nothing to it. Are you ready to go? Terrific. Gabe, good to see you this morning.
It's good to see you too. How
Thanks,
you doing?
man. Not bad. How are you?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. There you go. So last time I saw you, we were at the racetrack, and you kind of kicked everybody's rear end that weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, on Saturday I qualified second, and then I won the heat and the final. And on Sunday I got pole and won the final by 40 seconds, and in four-stroke I won the final by 20 seconds.
That's a lot. You know, in racing, folks, if you win by a second or two, it's a lot. If you win by 30 or 40 seconds, my goodness, it's a bloody day. Right?
Yeah.
So way to go. And then I understand the weekend after that, you went to Oregon.
Yeah, for the IKF Nationals.
Right, and you'd never been to that racetrack before.
Yeah, I've never been to that racetrack, and I was driving the new kart, Atomica kart, and so it was kind of just it was a weekend about learning the kart and stuff. So it was really hard. We were messing with setup a lot, but I mean, it was a good learning experience.
So, but if I understand this correctly, you got into a brand new kart you'd never been in.
Right.
To a track you'd never been on. Mm-hmm. In the rain.
Yeah. And
you qualified fourth in a national event.
Yeah.
This kid's got talent, folks. This kid's got huge talent. What'd you learn this year? I mean, I learned a lot. I learned about what skill I like. About myself and what I have to take myself to the next level, you know, in certain series so I can be competitive. I learned a lot about how I need to talk to my mechanics and stuff. I learned a lot about that I need to know more about setup and not not know about how to drive, I guess. I mean, learn a lot more because there's a lot more that there's
goes
a lot of
into
communication.
racing.
I mean, you're looking at moving up into bigger series, into cars,
right.
and hopefully into Formula One. And my goodness, I hope you make it, man. I really do. It's maybe our audience doesn't understand how important it is that the driver be able to communicate well with his engineer.
Right. Yeah.
And there's very, very few drivers, in my opinion, that were able to do that over the years. Schumacher was great at it.
Right.
You know, he could tell he was so in tune with his engineer that they kind of knew coming in what they needed to do to the car in order to make him even quicker.
Yeah,
which was just
exactly.
It's an amazing ability to do that, because not only does it take driving skill, it also means you understand the engineering of the car and the whole 9 yards.
Right.
What do you need to improve on as a driver for next year?
I just think I need to improve on feeling the cart more. So like I can feel the cart and say it has a push or whatever, but I need to know why it has a push or why it's loose. And then I think once I'm more in tune with my cart, that will get me the next step. And
you got a new cart for next year. And
this
is a new learning experience for both you and your crew.
Right, yeah.
Right on, right on. What are you going to do physically to prepare yourself for next season?
Probably just still train every day, which I've been doing a lot. I've trained every day for 5 days a week, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays I've been training with Complete Athlete, and that has made a really big difference in my racing career. over a lot of other drivers, because a lot of other drivers don't train.
Yep.
Because they don't really think that you need to train, but it is a really big deal. So I think that has made me a lot of a better driver and put me a step further compared to other drivers.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
And I've been like, I want to do some biking because that's super important for drivers, like mountain biking and stuff. I want to do some skiing this winter. Michael Schumacher and all those guys ski all the time. And that's pretty much it, I think, for a physical.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that are into bicycling. There's a lot of triathletes in Formula One.
Yeah.
What's his name? Jenson Button from England is a hell of a triathlete.
Yeah.
Mark Webber spends a little bit of time on a bicycle every now and then, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are fit. I mean, these guys in Formula One, if we understand that they're in a car for an hour and 40, hour and 50 minutes, right around in there at 120
Right.
to 130 degrees, and they're losing 12 to 14 pounds of water weight in less than 2 hours.
Right.
These guys are fit.
Yeah.
These guys are fit.
It
So
takes
good
a
for
lot
you.
of core strength.
Yeah, good for you that you understand the physical portion of this, and that you're getting yourself ready even for next season already. I think that's awesome. I think that's just awesome. Biggest mistake you made this year? What was it?
Biggest mistake I made,
Yeah.
I think, is before going to, I think it was McMinnville, I kind of got a little bit over my head because I had a good weekend in Spokane at the ICP Cup race. And I was like, I'm really doing good. I'm really moving up. I'm really fast, and I think I could win in McMinnville. And I saw this one quote from Jackie Stewart. He said, once you get in your head and you think you're one of the best and you don't want to really learn anymore and take more steps ahead, that's when you start going down, and that's what I did. I was like, I was going to win this race, and so I just kind of fell behind and didn't move forward.
I think we can get a little overly confident every now and then, right?
Yeah.
I know I most certainly did in my racing career. That's not the biggest mistake I ever made, but I'm not going to do that on the air.
Right.
What was your biggest success this year?
My biggest success, I think it was just not about really just the racing part, just learn more about myself and how I need to act. Like even with my dad, I just need to listen to him more so I can improve. And because sometimes I'd be like, oh, I already know this stuff. And but, I just want to improve and just take everything that everyone tells me so I can be the best driver I can be.
There you go. Good for you. I'm sure you're going to pull that off. I know you're going to pull this off. There's a couple of things about you that really solidify for me your ability as a driver. Number one, nothing bothers you.
Mm-hmm.
You just stay absolutely level. And there's this thing in racing and driving called a red mist, and
Yeah.
I've had it, right?
Yeah.
Where we get angry in a car, and we're driving on anger rather than on what we should be driving on, which is of course our ability and our talent and our ability to feel the car and understand what it's doing. But we, as drivers, unfortunately get this red mist every now and then. And then there's a couple guys like you that just don't get it. You stay level and even keeled. The other thing that I notice about you as a driver is that you turn your head before you get to a corner,
Right.
which, as a driving instructor, was difficult for me to instill into my students.
Yeah.
You have an ability as a driver when you turn your head and look where you're going to end up, that you actually buy yourself time.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything slows down. And now all of a sudden you have time to react to whatever's coming up because you can see it even further ahead. It's a great deal. And you do that really, really well.
Thank
and
you.
I think that's one of the things that makes you incredibly quick in comparison to the other people that you race against. It's a big advantage that you have. Cool thing.
Yeah, I've really tried to focus on little stuff like that, like on my braking and my head turning and stuff, because a lot of people don't really do that. So I've tried to do that, so I'm one step ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I noticed is, towards the last part of my driving career, is we started having to drive with Hans devices in full-size cars.
Right.
And I found it terribly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Very, very safe and a wise thing to do, obviously, and I would never get in a race car without one anymore, but it does limit how much you can turn your head. So that's something that you'll also experience here pretty shortly.
Yeah.
So you have a new car for next year. Plans for next year? Anything that I don't know about?
So me and my dad been talking and stuff, and we want to do some car testing this winter, some F4 testing or something. And then maybe if we raise enough money or I'm ready, I might do an F4 race next year during the end of the karting season. So that would be
awesome.
really cool.
That would be awesome. That event I want to be at.
Yeah.
I can't wait for you to clean everybody's clock.
Yeah, I will try.
That's awesome. It's been great having you on the show today.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came. It's always good seeing both you and your father.
Yeah, thank you for having me again.
Nah, my pleasure. I'm glad you had a great season. I think you're going to go places. And let me tell you, folks, if you're in business here in Spokane and you need our corporate spokesman, come find this kid. Come find this kid. He's got it absolutely going on. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Klaus, the Car Guy.
Thanks for watching. The Car Guy is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksMedia.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Car Guy is sponsored in part by European Auto House and Can-Am Body Shop. Ask Klaus a question, recommend a guest, or hear this program again on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or SpokaneTalksMedia.com.